Hello everyone and welcome back to Just Finish Coding. This is part 5 of our Crossy Road series which we're making on Python. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now I have to interject here that if you've not watched parts 1 to 4, please watch them before you come here because as you can see, I'm picking up from where I left off, and for this video to make sense, you need to watch the previous ones. I will leave a card for you right here. Please watch the videos and then come right back. If you're still here, I'm going to assume that you've watched parts 1 to 4, in which case let's continue with our code. So now we can scroll down and we can create a new function called delete cat, and this may seem like a strange function, but that's exactly what we're doing. So we will be emptying the cat group, which means we're basically removing the cat object from that group, and we will no longer be drawing and updating it on the screen. And I will also make sure that the rest of the groups do their usual stuff. So the screen, the car group, and also the flag group are just going to draw and then update, and we will also update our Pygame window or our Pygame display after this. Next, we can create another function called delete other items, and we will be deleting the other items apart from the cat. So we will be emptying the group, the car group, and we will also be emptying the flag group. In addition to doing these two things, I will also clear the flags list. And while this isn't really necessary, it just makes sense, because if we don't do this and one of the flags happen to be invisible at that point, we might start to run into some errors. So make sure you have this line of code in there, and that is pretty much all we need in this function. Okay, so next we can create another class, and please note that I said class and not sprite, because although this particular class is going to contribute to a game object, we are not going to be using it as a sprite because getting sprites in this just complicates things. I'll just call this class explosion, and we will be inheriting from nowhere, which means we just type in the word object within the inheritance. Alright, so now within the main init method, what we can just say is we can have a costume, which is very important, and then we will also have a width and height. Now as far as our image is concerned, we'll just have explosion followed by the string of costume, because costume is going to represent which particular costume of that image we are going to use. So the whole explosion is just going to be a series of images which are going to give an animation of an explosion, and a costume, the costume variable is just going to help us loop through those images in order to achieve a nice animation effect. Next, I'm going to resize the image, which just means transform the scale. And after this, we can get into the next method, which is going to be called, I guess, explode. And within this method, I'm going to have two parameters that the user has to enter in, and that is going to be x and y. And x and y are going to be the coordinates of the cat. And remember, the coordinates of the cat are the cat's center. And I obviously by coordinates mean self.x and self.y of the cat. And to make sure that our explosion goes to the correct point, we need to realize that the explosion's x and y are going to be its top left. And all we have to do to fix that is just change the x and y by the width and height of the explosion. So we can just do that, and we have to make sure that it's width by 2 and height by 2, because it's just going to be 1/2 of the image that we need to shift and not the whole image. Alright, so next we can delete the cat, and by delete the cat I just mean call in the method, and after this we can get into the animation. So we'll have a while loop that makes sure the costume is under 9, and each and every time I'll just be copy pasting those two lines of code with respect to the image. And after that we will make sure that the particular image is blitted on the screen, so just win.blit image with the x and y coordinates, and also update the screen with a p.display.update. And here I'll just be changing in the counter, in this case the costume variable, by 1 to make sure that the animation works properly. This animation is obviously going to be too fast because we're just going to go according to the frame rate, which is incredibly fast. So to make sure that this looks a little bit more realistic, we just need to import time on top, and we can add in a small time lag with time.sleep, and I'm just going to decide on the lag to be, I guess, 0.1 seconds. That should work fine. So after you've done this, you can get out of that particular while loop, and we can just call in the delete other items method, which will make sure that the screen is basically cleared. After this, you can scroll down, and after the flag objects, you can just create an explosion object, and it's pretty easy to create. We don't even have to put in any parameters with respect to the class. After this, we can do pretty much the same thing that we did with the flag. We can have within our cat sprite a new method called check collision, and the boolean variable which we will be using to check collisions with the car is called car check. And if that particular collision has taken place, then all we have to do is call in that explosion method. So we can say explosion.explode, and we can just enter in our x and y coordinates. Now we also have to make sure that this method is called in the update method. So we can just say self.check collision within that. And before you hit the run key, it's important to make one small change, which I forgot to do in the previous video. And you can just scroll down to your main code, and within the main loop, you can just switch the order of the draws and updates. So you can make sure that the cat group is drawn and updated after the car group, and this will ensure that you have no bugs. So once you have all of that in place, you can hit the run key at the top of your screen, and when you do and you move the cat and hit the car, you can see that a pretty neat collision forms and our explosion works perfectly. I'm going to end this video here. In the next video, we'll get into the fine tuning and making sure that our end screens work properly. But as of now, this is what you will have. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.